All right. So as still people will keep on joining, let's get started. I see it's 8:30 p.m. IST. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening from your respective time zones. Usually we have this talk, if you have been kind of following us from the beginning, usually we have this talk on Saturday evening. But of course, depending on the availability of our speaker, we do shift it. So of course, today is one such exception for an exceptional speaker that we have today with us. So of course, I do repeat in all the talks the idea of TEG. I started when we started in 2023 with the starting with the first mission director of Atal Innovation Mission, also an IITB alumni, Ramananji. We started it with the idea that there is a platform for young entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs, researchers, academics, policymakers to reach out to veteran entrepreneurs, experts, and kind of create a platform where people can exchange ideas, look for supports, and things like that. And when I say budding entrepreneurs, not necessarily budding in terms of age, but in terms of starting up, whenever they are starting up. And now I see when there are now two WhatsApp groups, WhatsApp community, more than 1,200 people kind of looking for support. There are mentors, people are seeking jobs, people are seeking opportunities. We also have an active Telegram group for IITB alumni, where we have around 500 participants. In total, as you would have seen, TEG has reached a kind of a community of around 3,500 people in around 2 years. And today it's the 23rd talk, and of course, it's less of a talk, more of a fireside chat, as you would see. So yeah, still the idea is same to keep on this kind of discussions, this kind of talks, to keep on the Gyan flowing. Of course, I was talking to Rajan yesterday, so it's always difficult to kind of look for people whom we consider that they should be giving Gyan, because these days everyone is kind of in the phase of giving Gyan, giving lectures, talking about entrepreneurship, starting up. But of course, finding the right set of people whom you adore as, okay, this is the right person to give Gyan. And I think Rajan and Hirshi and all of you would agree that Bharat is for sure one such person, who should be giving Gyan. And, it's kind of our pleasure to have him here. So without taking more time, I will ask Rajan, our mentor, to introduce Bharat. Please go ahead, Rajan. Yeah.
Yeah, so as Professor Vaibhav Chaudhary said, good morning, good evening to everyone. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to this very, very special session of the Entrepreneurship Gyan. I have the distinct honor of introducing today's guest, a man I can proudly call both my batchmate from IIT Bombay's famed class of 75 and quite possibly one of the most enterprising minds to ever frequent the corridors of IIT Bombay. Bharat, of course, is a celebrated, distinguished alumnus of IIT Bombay. Together with his brilliant wife, Nirja Sethi, he co founded Sintel, a true global unicorn that began with just a couple of $1,000s and a dream, and went on to employ thousands around the world. So clearly, Bharat is living proof that what happens in Powai doesn't always stay in Powai. It can really change the world. Now, if you ever wondered what made our batch, the class of 1975, IITB's class of 1975, so impactful and illustrious, tonight you'll get a glimpse. Some say it was the endless chai sessions. Others blame the hostel food. Some have said it was something in the water those years. But in Bharat's case, I think it was a combination of remarkable vision, the refusal to accept no for an answer, and perhaps a secret recipe for that famous IIT Bombay hustler spirit. Beyond corporate success, Bharat has always believed in giving back. Together with Nirja, his passion for nurturing future leaders is evident in the Desai Seti School of Entrepreneurship at our very own alma mater and through many initiatives worldwide. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming someone who sees opportunity where the rest of us saw only exam stress. My batchmate and our honored guest, Bharat Desai.
Thanks a lot, Rajan. So, of course, yeah. So, of course, we would like to hear, but I'll start, with a very popular question, which I think most of the entrepreneurs face. For sure, Bharat would have faced as well. So, what actually what made you decide to leave TCS and start, with whatever, I don't know, maybe it was not Sintel, maybe something in your mind, but what made you leave TCS and start something of your own, Bharat? Maybe that is the question. Maybe we should start with. Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, Rajan, thank you so much for that very kind introduction. And it's an honor to be here with my fellow alumni. So to respond, Vaibhav, I think since I was very young, I always enjoyed doing things that were different. When I was, I think, 11 or 12, I started a cricket team. And, I just moved to India from Kenya. I was born in Kenya. I moved to India. And in the first few months, I said, I enjoy cricket so much. Let's form a cricket team and start having matches against other teams around. In fact, even before I moved to India, when I was, I think, 10 years old, I organized a match between our school and a European school without even asking anybody. Went and informed my cricket coach that, hey, I've organized this match and these people are coming on this day. So it was just something I enjoyed doing. And once I joined TCS, it became pretty clear to me that, I was wired to be an entrepreneur. I was really not wired to be an employee. So I'd say that was probably the biggest impetus. And I'd say I had the comfort of launching out on my own because my wife, who would have been successful, whatever she did, was extremely supportive and said, if this is what you want to do, we'll do it. That's how we got started.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So I think a lot of people who have this kind of thought process, that maybe they want to do something on their own, probably would already have started noting down. And as we move forward, possibly you will, see that how possibly, you can also think or maybe, have a similar kind of thought process. So to you, Rishi, please go ahead. Yeah.
Great, Bharat.
Hi, Rishi.
So the next question is regarding the beginnings. You had $2,000. I'm sure there were a lot of things you could do with that $2,000, but you and Nirja Sethi decided to start the company. What was the conviction behind it? What were the early doubts? How did you overcome that and made a firm decision that, yes, we want to start this company?
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I think I was pretty clear that the employee route was really not for me. I really wasn't. And I think it stems from a very deep sense of a deep conviction that I have to make my own rules. And when you're an employee, somebody else makes the rules and you have to follow them. And I was just not wired to follow other people's rules. I still am not. So that conviction told me that to be successful, I had to do something on my own. It's really that simple.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Sounds straightforward, but maybe not to everyone, but for sure, you had already that conviction and you just thought of, going forward with it.
Yeah, I said
Just to add
I have no
on,
other
yeah.
choice. I had no
Yeah,
other choice.
yeah,
I had to do this.
yeah. Okay, okay. Because we do have some students from Desai Sethi School of Entrepreneurship, DSSE, and a lot of
Wonderful.
academics actually try to study that what motivated entrepreneurs, because this is a different field of study as well, that what motivated entrepreneurs to become
Right.
entrepreneur. But in your case, I think it's a lot your own conviction, which was very strong enough that probably helped you
Yeah.
there, right there. Yeah.
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 To add on, to just add on a bit, of course, you went to IIT Bombay, and we for our IITB alumni, and I'm also on the board. So this question that, what your experiences or rather learnings at IIT Bombay helped you shape your, views. Of course, it was your personal mindset from the very beginning, maybe from early childhood, but maybe what learnings or skills that, you gained at IIT Bombay helped you in the process or shaped or kind of your education kind of pivoted you or kind of helped you in starting up as well.
So I'd say I'd point to two things. One is I think the curriculum was rigorous, where
Okay.
you got a chance to really train your mind. But I'd say probably even more important was what we did outside the classroom. IIT Bombay, I think it's underappreciated how much freedom they give students to do what they want. And I was active in dramatics. We would organize competitions. We would organize bridge competitions in our hostel. There were competitions organized around. And I remember, um, contesting to become the general secretary of my hostel. And when I did, I said, I want to redo our lounge. And and um, nobody came in your way. You just said, this is the budget. I went and found people who would provide free service to design service to IIT Bombay's hostel, and along with a student council member, went and did it. So you really had so much freedom to go and do things that you wanted to do. And I think those are stepping stones and confidence builders that are really critical in anyone's journey.
Great. For sure. Thanks. By the way, which hostel were you in, or did you graduate
I
from?
was in Hostel 8, which
Oh
is
my God,
now
Hostel 8, yeah,
being
which is now not
it's now
there.
being
Me too,
recast as
Hostel 8.
Project
Yeah.
Evergreen.
Oh
In
my
fact,
God,
Yeah.
this
that's it.
this is
Project
surprising.
Evergreen
Yeah.
is a great example. My
Yeah, yeah,
my
yeah.
good friend and wingmate Kirat Patel and good friend Narya spearheaded that effort.
Yeah, yeah,
Again,
yeah.
they said we really need to do something different, and they launched it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
here
great.
it's
So
a success.
cheers
So
for
I'd say the
Hostel 8. So today,
most important thing I think, most important ingredient of success that's again underappreciated is a deep conviction and belief in yourself.
yeah, no, true. So Hershey, yes.
Um, Bharat, think about earlier part of Sintel, earlier part of your career, entrepreneurial journey.
Early days of
I'm
Syntel, of
early days of Sintel.
course.
Was there any major failure or challenge that really tested your resolve to stay put?
There were challenges every single day. You know, we had there were two main things we had to do to grow our business. One is to get customers, and the second one was to get employees. And both of them were extremely challenging. Why would a customer want to do business with a company that barely, is just getting launched when there were other established companies out there? And why would an employee want to join a company like ours when there were other established companies? So there were challenges every day. But you just have to have a conviction and just go at it. There was not one day when I didn't meet major disappointments.
Great.
So an entrepreneur's
Thank,
journey it is, I have to say this, it's not for everybody. You have to be extremely resilient. You can't be someone that gets phased by failure or setbacks, because those happen every single day. And by the way, that continued forever. Even when we were $1 billion company, if I went to a customer, they didn't roll out the red carpet and say welcome. They were beating you up about what wasn't working.
No, fantastic. True. Very true. Now coming to, of course, building Sintel, how did personal values or maybe your purpose or the way you were brought up, things like that, influenced your way of building Sintel's culture over the decade? I know kind of what principles for you were kind of non-negotiable, or you wanted to change, which were probably kind of very common in other places, which you wanted to change in Sintel.
Yeah. That's a good question. I'd say, when early on, I figured out that one area we could really excel is to focus on excellent customer service, and always put the customer first in any decision we made. And we used to call that our customers for life philosophy, because my simple belief was, if you did an outstanding job of servicing a customer, you shouldn't give the customer any reason to go to someone else. And the biggest asset you have is a customer who believes in you and who gives you repeat business. So very early on, I sort of was lucky to latch on to that. And our customers for life philosophy was a non-negotiable principle on which we established Syntel. The second thing that I drove from the very beginning was a sense of urgency. If something had to be done, let's do it now. Let's not wait for an hour or for till tomorrow. So a sense of urgency. And I'd say the third thing was continuous improvement. We'll make mistakes, but every day you would stumble on something. Let that be an opportunity to learn and improve. We have to be better today than we were yesterday. So customers for life, a sense of urgency, and a spirit of continuous improvement and getting better every day. I'd say those were probably building blocks that we used forever, from the early days till Syntel was acquired by Atos. Those principles we lived by, and those are very simple principles. Principles that anyone could embrace.
Mm-hmm.
And we were, people were, as we grew, people were measured against those.
So drilling a little bit deeper into the same question, what you mentioned, the customers will know about it after they started interacting with you, the customer service, how quickly responding, etc.
Yes, of course.
Before the customers engage, how would they see you differently than your competitors? What was your differentiation strategy there?
Yeah. Great
led
question.
To the rapid growth.
Yeah. Well, remember we worked at it for a while, but anytime a customer had an opportunity, we would go and say, "Give us a chance. We will do an outstanding job for you. Give us a chance. Give us a chance." That's what we said. Well, hundreds of them didn't give us a chance. Even when we were $1 billion company, lots of customers, didn't give us a chance. But the ones that did, those are the ones that mattered. So you have to keep at it, and you wait for a breakthrough. And when you get a breakthrough, make the most of it. So that's the formula we followed. That was our playbook.
Okay, great.
And that's one of the characteristics that I can point out about Bharat. He's very, very persistent, And one of the anecdotes that I have from his early growing up, he was wanting to get into this school in Ahmedabad, that the famous elite school of St. Xavier's School in Ahmedabad, and the Jesuit priest said, "No, we cannot take you." But Bharat was so persistent that he would show up every day, or Bharat, you tell the story.
every few, yeah. So, as I said, we'd moved from Kenya to India, and we were fortunate to get into a school in Ahmedabad, but I knew there was a much better school, St. Xavier's, and that was a difficult school to get into. And I knew that for my academic performance would improve significantly if I was part of St. Xavier's High School. So I would go there and meet the principal, show up, and he would, see me, joke, pat me on the back and send me packing. And that happened, I would go up maybe every month, every few weeks. And it was the same routine. One day I showed up and the principal was away and the vice principal was standing in. And he noticed that this kid has been coming in a lot. So he said, let me at least give a look at him. So he showed me, he said, do you have your mark sheet? So, I had my eighth grade mark sheet, and he looked at it and said, wow, this looks pretty good. So he asked the clerk to find a spot for me. And was fortunate that he did. And when he did, I said, oh, by the way, I have a younger brother who needs admission in the 7th grade. And fortunately, my brother got admission too. So that's the story. It just kept showing up.
No, that's fantastic. And actually, that's the reason why, it's great to have Rajan also with us, because otherwise we will be asking a lot more questions about him as an entrepreneur, his journey in Sintel, but probably we would have never heard of this fantastic story as well. Hopefully, Rajan, please try to bring in a lot more, especially from IITB days, because there are a lot of people from IITB who have joined us. So it would be interesting if there are some more stories from IITB.
I'm surprised, Rajan, you know that story. Not too many people do, but
yeah. So
anyway,
so that means, Bharat, we have a really nice mentor with us. Yeah, we have a really nice mentor with us, right? We have a really nice mentor with us. No.
Go ahead, please.
Great. So we are kind of short of time, like always, and we can keep asking you for hours, because your journey is fantastic, but we have to move forward. So the next question, which is also kind of becoming interesting these days for academics, but also for entrepreneurs, which is the internationalization of the startups. So of course, Sintel became a global powerhouse, but what were the key decisions that enabled such an international expansion of Sintel over the years?
Yeah. So I point to two things. First of all, remember when we started, our company was completely US based. We had no India presence at all. So which is different from most companies today. So for almost 12 years, we were only a US based company. But I noticed that there was really a growing demand and not enough supply being created. By the same token, I noticed that India was creating this great supply, very, very strong talent pool. And I also noticed that talent pool was much deeper and stronger than the talent pool that was available in the US. So my first decision was to establish an offshore delivery mechanism, to say, if we could establish a presence in India, we could tap into the deep pool available, and also provide a service that I felt the development services would be much better than the one available locally. And of course, we could do it at a cost structure that was much better than our competition. So that seemed like a no-brainer. So the first big challenge was, completely change the direction of the organization from being a on-site centric to becoming an offshore, onshore organization. And so that was one change. By the way, I'm just noticing Abhijit Gadgil is signed on. I know he probably can't say hello, but Abhijit, hello. It's wonderful to have you on. Abhijit I know well from IIT Bombay. The second thing was to grow into an international organization. We had to think about how are we going to help the customer? How are we going to make an impact on our customers' businesses? And so we decided that to do that, we not only had to have deep technology skills, but also build deep knowledge in our customers' industries. So we selected a few industries where most of our customers' businesses were focused, and decided to establish deep domain expertise in those industries. That included healthcare, insurance and financial services, banking, manufacturing, logistics. These were 5 areas that we established deep expertise. So not only could we go to customers with a technical solution, we'd have a deep understanding of their business and say, here are the challenges your industry faces. Here's a solution that can help you leapfrog your competition. So I'd say, first of all, establishing an offshore operation, and then thinking ahead and saying, how could we use this capability we had created to proactively offer solutions to customers' businesses? So that's what helped us start growing rapidly. And with this offering, we could go to customers anywhere. We could take the same offering to customers in Singapore, Australia, Europe, and in fact, serve the needs of customers globally. So that became a key differentiator for us. Another example I'll give you is, there were companies, well-established companies, when they serviced a customer, they would be servicing a customer, say, across geographies. Their local teams in each geography was responsible for that. We decided we should have one global team that coordinated everything. And that, again, was a big differentiator at one. Of course, over time, everybody emulated it. The thing is, in any industry, this is very important for anybody who is seriously considering entrepreneurship. If you do something smart, your competition is going to copy it. So, nobody has a monopoly on good ideas. So even if you have a good idea, it's how well you execute it and how far ahead you think, because tomorrow your competition is going to say, hey, I offer the same thing. So then you have to be ready for with the next and the next.
Great. It's fantastic. And in fact, the exact same lines I did hear from Kamal Rekhi as well. He was on our talk. He said that, ideas do exist. Then I invited Professor Venkat, who is a great academic researcher from Darden School of Business. He said exact same thing. A lot of people have ideas, how do well execute it, and how you try to move ahead with it, and try to create a differentiator as you move ahead is the key. Fantastic. Fantastic to know that.
That's where the spirit of continuous improvement helped, because it's not enough to have a good idea. It's how do you improve on that idea?
Yeah. And Professor Venkat, he calls it pivoting. How do you pivot well when you keep moving? And in entrepreneurship academics, that's what they call it. But anyways, Rishi, please.
So now Sintel is big. We're moving forward, going public. So what factors influenced your decision to take Sintel public? And what advice would you have for entrepreneurs who are considering doing the IPO?
Correct. So at that time, and this was almost, when we started thinking about going public, it was almost 30 years ago. And once we decided we want to do that, it was a journey to prepare the company to go public. I said there were 3 main drivers. First one was to create a currency for expansion of the company if we need it. What that means is stock could become a currency to deploy if you wanted to do an acquisition. Second was just better branding and visibility. Public companies just have better visibility than private companies do, and they're just more transparent. And we thought that those would be important factors for our planned journey. And third was a vehicle to create value for employees. So through stock options, restricted stock grants, etc. So it was a currency for expansion. It was branding and visibility, and it was a value creating mechanism for employees. Those were the factors that influenced my decision to take the company public. I think anybody who is considering that path should really think about why they want to go public. Don't do it just because everybody else does it, but you should be very clear. Today, for sure, I know that the onus for managing a company which is public is much higher than the onus of managing a private company. You have to have a board of directors. There are some very clear guidelines for with the Securities and Exchange Commission in most domains where you operate. So there's a time and a cost and management bandwidth spent in managing a public company. So very important for anybody who understands to understand that before they embark on that journey. And frankly, that is something I was not aware. I had not given enough thought to when we actually went public, or when we thought about going public.
Great, fantastic. And of course, you built Sintel, for around 40 years, and then $3.4 billion, huge market you have, and then you decide to exit. What kind of came to your mind that, okay, this is the right time to exit, or now I should be doing something else, or whatever? What thoughts came to your mind when you kind of decided that, okay, I should be exiting it?
Yeah. So we had thought about whether what was the right succession plan for the company's ownership, and in a lot of cases, even public companies, there are members of the family who want to step in and continue to take the company forward, and most organizations have that. In our case, our children didn't have an interest in joining the company and taking it forward. So succession planning was a very important thing for us, and we as a board engaged in succession planning every meeting at several levels of management. So that was something we held as a really important governance principle, because anything could happen to me or really anybody else in the organization. So at any time, it was important that there was a good succession plan for the company. So having built a succession plan over multiple years and being comfortable with that plan, the question was ownership succession. So leadership succession was in place. Then the question was ownership succession. And we had always, over the years, had companies express interest in an acquisition of Syntel. We would frequently get inquiries, and we would consider them seriously and make a decision whether we wanted to move forward with that offer or not. So when this offer came up, it so happened that there were others at the same time who were also interested, and we as a board took a hard look and said, perhaps this may be a time to consider ownership succession of for Sintel. And so we engaged an investment banker. We actually first formed a special committee of the board, engaged an investment banker, Goldman Sachs, and embarked on the process. And we found that in this manner, following this plan, we would have a good succession plan for shareholders, a good succession plan for customers, and a good succession plan for employees, because the employees would be joining a much larger organization that was European based, and they would have opportunities to grow and to be able to expand their capabilities as well. So because it made so much sense for shareholders, customers, and employees, our board decided to accept the offer that was on the table from Atos, and we moved forward.
Great. Fantastic. And that's interesting because a lot of people are in fact from the academic side, but even entrepreneurs are interested in a similar kind of situations when they face, and as an academic as well, that how do second generation of entrepreneurs or family businesses would look like or grow, and what challenges do we face. So it's interesting. Yeah. It's also interesting that you didn't kind of, I don't know, force your children to try to come up and try to be and follow your own path, probably because of your own mindset, which I think it's very clear for now. So yeah, it's quite fantastic to know that. Yeah, Rishi.
Yeah, listen, our children, that's not what our children wanted to do things, on their own differently, and both of them do today. But they didn't want to follow in our footsteps in Syntel. So they're doing a terrific job at what they're doing today. They're following their passion, and we got a chance to pass the mantle of ownership and leadership and customer relationships with a well-established organization. Yeah. So it was something that was a win-win for everybody. Win for our shareholders, win for our customers, win for our employees.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, Rishi.
So now the company is, transitioned. You were a CEO before, and now you're stepping away. So how do you handle this transition from a hands-on CEO, away from all these day-to-day operations?
So just slight correction on that. I knew very early on that leadership succession was important. So we had appointed a COO almost 15 years before the company was sold. So I had stepped away from day-to-day operations into just a CEO role in 2004. And in 2010, we also promoted our then chief operating officer to CEO. So I was then chairman. So I was executive chairman. I was still involved, but I wasn't involved in the day-to-day decision making. I was involved much more at the strategic level. So what that did was it allowed me to focus on areas that were my strengths. It allowed the company to develop a strong leadership team that would be ready for any kind of succession that was necessary. So I think and I was very fortunate to have a good board that provided this advice. A lot of entrepreneurs miss this because they quite often feel that, hey, I can't find someone who can run the company as well as I do. And our goal was to find somebody who would actually do it better. And over time, we were able to develop people and provide them the leeway and the confidence to be able to execute on that. So when the company was sold, I was chairman. I wasn't the day-to-day CEO. And there was already a CEO in place who just took things forward. But to sort of
15 years.
Yeah, of succession planning. Yeah. Also, I also had decided that once the company was sold, I wasn't going to play any role in the company going forward, because that wouldn't be fair to employees and to the new shareholders. And so I was willing to provide them any help they needed, it with customer transition, employee transition, strategy, but decided that it's best for me to just step away completely, and that's what I did.
So I think in our mythology, Hindu mythology is doing karma and detaching from karma, and I think that's what I hear from you, that you did
Exactly.
you did your job, and then you detach
You
and
have to detach.
that's the way of
Yes.
you have to be happy. Oh, that's fantastic. And I think this probably would be one of the nice learnings which budding entrepreneurs would have, because at times you face difficulty in detaching from things which you love and care and you build up. But that's fantastic to hear. Now coming to really my favorite question. I think some people are already from Desai City School of Entrepreneurship. So what motivated you to support DSSE, rather start a DSSE? And of course, what's your vision and impact on future generation and things like that? Because I see a question from Abhijit, who is asking that he believes that entrepreneurship can't be taught. Probably it's a futile academic exercise, but an entrepreneur himself supporting Desai City School of Entrepreneurship, rather starting it. And I think probably you have had some vision and some idea in your mind. So, what would you like to share on that front?
Great. Again, a great question. So I'll first address the question of whether entrepreneurship can be taught. So first
perfect.
of all, whether to become an entrepreneur is a decision that an individual has to make. Like I said, it's full of uncertainty. And, as an employee, there's a fair amount of certainty. Your role is defined, and a path, if you are successful, is clearly defined. For an entrepreneur, there's no such thing. You can start doing one thing and decide 6 months later that makes no sense and you have to take a different direction. That kind of uncertainty and ability to adapt is not for everybody. Okay, let me be very, very clear about that. However, once somebody decides that they might want to try that, are there aspects of entrepreneurship that we can train them on so that if they happen to embark on a journey for entrepreneurship, they have a much higher chance of success? So that was the focus for the School of Entrepreneurship. So I'd say I had like a threefold objective in launching the Desai City School of Entrepreneurship. First was, I thought that it was important for IIT Bombay graduates to not just be prepared to go look for a job when they graduated, but possibly consider the path of entrepreneurship, because I thought India needed more job creators, not more job seekers. So that was I'd say our primary motivator. Second reason why we started it at IIT Bombay was, first of all, it's my alma mater. I absolutely love IIT Bombay. I also know that it is a highly respected organization all across the world, but definitely in India. And I said, if IIT Bombay does something, everybody's going to copy it. And we were right. Today, there are over 100 schools of entrepreneurship in India. So we were able to seed a school of entrepreneurship. And not just that, IIT Bombay actively created this program where they would provide input to other schools that wanted to embark on that journey, share the knowledge on the entrepreneurial journey. And then I'd say our biggest sort of intrinsic motivator was Nirja and I had such a fantastic journey of entrepreneurship, which was our own journey. We wanted to create this opportunity for others to embark on their own individual entrepreneurial journeys. And we said, what better way than to launch the School of Entrepreneurship and enable that? So those were my three main objectives. Create job creators, not job seekers. Create an institute that everybody in India would want to emulate. And number three, provide IIT Bombay graduates and students to an opportunity to embark on their unique entrepreneurial journeys.
Perfect.
I really like how you summarize after you've given a longer description, makes it really crystal clear.
So we don't need any AI, any chat GPT. He himself, his mind is working that way. Yeah. Pre chat
And that,
GPT era. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I see a lot, especially among the IIT crowd, people are not very clear in their communication. So it's really, I mean, that's definitely part of your success reason, right? So going
So
back
now
to
we
the
So,
know. Now we know
I'll
how
tell
we
you
got.
this. I'll tell you. Hey, I think you brought up a great point. You know where I honed my communication skills really well? In participating in dramatics at IIT Bombay.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
that's why it's
And
important.
yeah. And I guess
So
later that might
listen,
have helped
it
you
was
to get
a
your first clients. Yeah. That
I
may help you to get your first clients as well.
enjoyed the process, but didn't realize how helpful it would be in
Yeah.
my life journey.
Yeah, great. Fantastic. Yeah. So people who are in academia, by the way, I guess you are also taking some points. So it is interesting to know how personal entrepreneurial traits and their entrepreneurship education or otherwise education in general and extracurricular activity may also help them to be entrepreneurs later on in their career. And a lot of research questions in entrepreneurship
Everything you
are
do,
not answered.
everything you do
Yeah.
at IIT Bombay is going to be helpful to you. I am
Wow. Wow.
convinced.
Amazing.
Okay.
Wow.
But
Amazing.
so and it is
Yeah.
such a great opportunity that's underappreciated by
Yeah.
most students.
Great. Fantastic. Thanks a
When
lot.
I joined, I remember first couple of weeks, I'm looking around and my friend and I say, we can't eat this food. And he happened to be a Guju. So we said, why don't we start a Gujarati mess? I mean, I was in IIT for 15 days. We started a Gujarati mess.
Okay.
But that has an interesting history. We had this Guju cook come in. Suddenly there was a huge demand for that. I think a month into it, all the other mess servants drove the Guju cook away, saying they basically scared him into leaving.
All right. So fantastic.
Speaking of
Yes, Rishi, let's.
success,
Yeah.
how has the definition of success changed when you started and what you think it is now? Is it different or is it same?
I think definition of success is, of course, a very personal thing for everybody. For me, initially, for Nirja and I, initially, it was making our organization successful along the values that we had defined. For us, having kids with a great value system and a family with a very strong value system was absolutely critical to us from a personal standpoint. And again, we're knock on wood, very fortunate that we have kids who have embraced values that are very strong. So from that standpoint, I'd say the definition of success is still very similar. What values do you embrace? But if you think about, how have our, when we ran Sintel, our goal was to make customers successful, provide great opportunities for our employees, and enable shareholders to realize superior value. That journey is now completed, and we've embraced other things now. And today, what's really important to us is how do we create impact in the areas that we are passionate about in the world? So that's where we are focusing our time and energy on.
Great. And of course, we have around just 10 minutes, maybe one line or two line response from you, kind of advice for young founders, because of course, entrepreneurship environment and everything has changed over the years. Maybe one line or two line advice that you would give to people who are starting up.
Yeah, of course. A lot of people, I think, say, "Hey, I want to start a company. What should I do?" and go looking for something. I think most successful entrepreneurs are people who see a problem and they want to go they feel this need to go solve this problem. And they feel that they really can't wait to go solve that problem. And of course, there are many examples. I'll give you famous examples of Steve Jobs, who quit college, Michael Dell, who started making laptops. Assembling computers in his dorm room, and said the opportunity was so big he quit school. Mark Zuckerberg, same thing. He saw that if he had to create Facebook, it had to be done now. Bill Gates, same thing. So people who see, but the people who are successful entrepreneurs, by and large, are people who see that there's a problem that needs to be solved, and they want to jump in with both feet and solve that problem. So make sure if you decide to embark on the journey, make sure you have identified a problem that you can relate to, and can really embrace, are really committed to solving it. I'll give you another example. You guys have all heard of this company called Canva. Highly successful company by this very young Australian couple. I actually had the opportunity to meet Melanie Perkins just a few weeks back, and she was rejected by 200 VCs. But she had such a strong belief in her idea that she kept going. She and her husband, maybe at that time partner. But so you have to have deep conviction in yourself and your idea, and then you have to go all at it.
Thanks a lot.
So again,
Rishi,
to answer your
maybe
question, answer your question, find a problem that you're very passionate about solving, and really then go all out to solve it.
Fantastic. Thanks. Of course, we are short of time. So Rishi, maybe I already started taking some audience questions mixed with our own questions, but Rishi, maybe you can take the next one from the audience. Yeah.
Right. So the next one is from Vinay Pillai. How do early stage founders handle finances and partnership when starting a company? Are there smarter ways to manage this or structure things if you don't have much of a personal money at risk?
That's a kind of long question, but there are there are well-known, that's probably a very detailed question, but I'd say there are already well-established funding mechanisms for entrepreneurial companies now. It wasn't so during our time. So I would say this person is probably best off just, asking ChatGPT this question, and we'll have probably a better answer, a more pointed answer by interacting with ChatGPT.
So Bharat, I teach AI as well. So in fact, Rajan happened to take the program that I do at IIT Bombay itself on generative AI. And you mentioned ChatGPT. It's kind of giving me, really goosebumps that person who has been so active at this age has already embraced AI, when even younger people I see, they still are thinking, oh, maybe I should start using AI, maybe I should start using ChatGPT. And here you are already telling people that, you should just log in and start using it. As simple as that. And really fantastic, really fantastic that you are still evolving. And I'm pretty sure there must be, interesting things in your mind which you are still focusing on. But yeah, fantastic. Let's.
Yeah, I think the journey.
Listen.
We have to continue to evolve every day. That's the beauty of being alive and being human beings. It's the beauty of life.
Yeah, perfect.
And learn from young people. Young people today are so smart, have come up with so many great concepts.
Yeah. So, of course, another question from Gaurav is, of course, you saw things both in India.
I feel compelled to make a point here.
Yeah,
because
sure,
a lot of people, on this entrepreneurial journey, I see another of my classmates, Milan Patia, just posted a question. Hi, Milan.
I think there are a couple of your classmates. I think Rajan Jaswal is also there because
Raj Jaswal is there too. Hey, Raj, how are you?
because
So,
of Rajan. So I'll thank Rajan again because he has been a really great mentor. He has involved a lot of people here.
Yeah. So the point I wanted to make is, listen, some people might think, hey, if I embark on an entrepreneurial journey, try very hard and fail, then I've missed the opportunity to go get a good job. I can tell you there's nothing further from the truth. A potential employer would love somebody who's been on a journey like that, who had the self-confidence to go embark on a journey, had the perspective to say, hey, this is not for me, because that person would have so much knowledge and so much value. Many organizations would love to hire someone like that. So if it's ever in your mind, don't let the concern that you've missed the opportunity to interview for jobs in any way intimidate you from embarking on your own journey.
Fantastic. Of course, there are some personal questions, but one question I see is on ethics. So because you have seen the both world, India, US, and otherwise. So Gaurav is asking maybe differences on ethics and maybe any issues around it that you would have seen or you would like to talk about.
Well, listen, I think you have to have very clear black and white standard on ethics. So there's no room for compromise on ethics.
Great.
So another set of questions is around your next passion. What are the areas you're waiting to create impact now?
So we have the three areas that we are very passionate about are education. First of all, our primary motivator is economic mobility, helping people who are at a lower economic rung. How do we create opportunities for them to create more, to move up the economic ladder? And two areas that stand out there are education and entrepreneurship. So we have, we are short of time. We have a number of initiatives that support those initiatives. And then one that I believe is very, very important, we again, as a family believe it, is health and well-being. How do we make sure that wellness care and healthcare is ubiquitously accessible and affordable by the masses? So these are, big topics, things we're very passionate about, and things we expect to spend, bulk of our time and energy trying to help make a dent in.
Great. Awesome. So I would like to plug in Wheels Foundation. Bharat, you probably heard about Wheels Foundation, right?
Yeah. I'm familiar with it. Yeah. I am. Thank you.
So this would be squarely in that area.
Yeah.
Trying to multiply impact from all the social impact-minded organizations.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great organization. Yeah. Arjun Malhotra was actually just in touch with me recently about that. Yeah.
No, fantastic. And of course, a lot of people are from Asia and of course India, and it's night for them. And we surprisingly, coincidentally, we all happen to be in the US, although in different time zones. But anyways, we just have 1 minute. Maybe Rajan, I would like you to come in and maybe say final words, what are thoughts, any funny stories you have in your mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as expected, Bharat has been spectacular in covering so much of, a vast number of questions. Actually, we got a lot more questions in and because of his concise answers and all of that. But to end this on a little lighter note, there is one anecdote that stands out about Bharat in his in his childhood days when his mother used to send him to the to the market. And this is something I heard from Bharat himself. So for the audience, I think we can close by recounting how you showed early signs of this hustling spirit and all of that. So Bharat, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. Anand Kusre, I again got a nice message from Anand Kusre. I'm so glad you're on, Mr. Anand Kusre. And Anand Kusre and Raj Jaswa, by the way, played an absolutely critical role in helping Desai City School of Entrepreneurship get off the ground. So thank you on behalf of everybody to Anand and Raj. But quickly to answer your question, Raj, when we moved from Kenya, my dad had stayed back in Kenya to wind things up for a couple of years, and so I became I was the male head of the family at the tender age of 11, and my mom would always give me money, 2 rupees at that time, to go to the market to buy vegetables, because you bought fresh vegetables every day. So I would get on my bike and go to the market, and I trained myself to figure out what was the best product that day and what's the right price to pay for it. So my goal every day was to get everything my mom wanted for that day. And I went with the thala, hand her the thala back, and proudly hand her 1 rupee back. So she sent me with 2 rupees, and I would try and make the whole purchase with 1 rupee and give her a rupee back. So early negotiation skills were sort of forced on me, and I have to be thankful that I was actually spent those 5 years in Ahmedabad. There couldn't have been a more fertile ground to learn negotiation skills and to absorb negotiation skills than in Ahmedabad. And that was, of course, very valuable for me once we got launched in business. Thank you all so much.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Bharat. It was
Thanks,
fantastic
Bharat.
to have you. I think everyone really liked it. And
Yeah.
we are just 2 minutes.
Hey, Harsh. Hi. I
difference.
just saw a message from Harsh. Hi, Harsh.
Yeah, I think a lot of your juniors, seniors, and a lot of your
Lots of
friends and
friends.
colleagues
Lots
will
of
be there.
friends. Really,
Yeah,
really,
and of course,
really
I'll share
honored
the
to be
recording as
addressing
well.
all of you guys.
Yeah,
Thank you guys so much.
All right, thanks
Take
a lot.
care.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Bharat.
everyone.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
of
Thanks a
course.
lot.
Bye.
Thank you.